Alright, today I'm going to make a short, quick video on how you can mount a flipper if you bought a Knight Rider bumper off me, a fiberglass bumper. I'm going to show you how I cut these out to add the flipper, because if you can buy these off my website out of mold without the flipper cut out. I am charging $50 extra to do the flipper cutout, or if you buy the flipper off me, I do it for you, included. So if you did buy a rear bumper off me and you bought the flipper, and there's two different styles of flipper, actually three different style flippers. Only one of them fits this bumper. One's a little bit too wide, and another one fits, and then the other one's totally doesn't even work. So I'm just going to be showing you how I do the cutout, just in case you bought one of these and you didn't have me cut it out for you. Alright, so let's get to it and I'll show you how it's done. Alright, so first thing I do is I use a step drill bit. Okay, you could use any drill bit that you got, but I use just a step drill bit. It gets bigger as you go through it. What I do is I drill some holes here. Also, when I'm drilling it, to keep the fiberglass out, I turn on the vacuum. My air saw. I just need to get it into that hole so I can start cutting. Alright, so you got to make a cut from one end to the other, and you want to have it a little bit low. You don't want that edge sticking up because your flipper is going to sit here, and you want that below the flipper. Alright, so here's the flipper. You want this to sit flat on here. As you can see, it fits in there nice and snug without hitting. Okay, there's one version out there where it's a little bit wider and it won't fit. I actually have one here. I'll show it to you. Alright, so here's the new version that looks exactly like the old version. Okay, and you'll see people selling these online and they'll look almost the same, but you could see if you put one next to the other, one is just a little bit like a 1/4 inch too long. Okay, and the height is actually a lot higher too. The height doesn't matter though, because I can cut that out and make that fit, but when you go to put the wrong version in, you see it won't fit. And I already adjusted this to go wider from the original by like a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. And so I made it for this flipper. And this is the new version that's out. So it's getting harder and harder to find the older versions, the original versions that they came out with. And so you don't want to get the newer version because it'll be too wide, and then you'd have to cut out your fiberglass from this side and it would just be a mess. You'd have to re-glass it once you made it wider, and why go through all that mess when you can get the right size flipper. Okay, so once you get that cut out at the bottom, this should fit in there nice and flat, and you can see this thing needs to go up higher. It's about an inch short here. So okay, let me point that down. It's an inch short here at the bottom, so you don't want that hanging down. Sure, you could install it like that if you wanted to, but then it's going to look a little funny because this is not lined up with the bumper. So what I like to do is cut out this whole area so this thing can open up. See that? You need some space for this to open. So what we're going to do is shorten off this bay just a little bit. So you're going to get a pencil and a ruler. From the top of this to the base is about 2 inches. Where I need it at is about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to mark where the 1.5 inches is. Same over here. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. Now where I mark the inch, where I start the top of the rule is like right where it starts to curve. Not at the top of the curve, but at the very bottom of where the curve starts. That's where I measure from. Okay, so once you got that, you just go and connect your marks with the ruler. Actually, I'm going to take this off and use the ruler so I can get a better measurement going. So you can see it's about a 1/2 inch off right there. Make your mark. Okay. All right, after you take the marking of a 1/2 inch, you got to come over here, and what I like to do is curve this just like the original was curved. So what I do is just I eyeball it. Okay, I'm really good with my eyes, so I just create that curve again. Okay, and do that on both sides. Until I get to that 1/2 inch mark right there. So that'll give you the appearance of the original look, which was rounded right here on both sides. So you want to round that as well at the top. And I actually have an air tool. I have an air tool made by Cobalt, and I have this bit that you can buy, and this bit is perfect for rounding that corner edge. I'll show you that in a little bit. So next we're going to go and start cutting that line out. Alright, right before you get, I'd say about an inch, inch and a quarter away from this edge here, you don't want to cut all the way past it, okay? Stop about an inch away and then just cut it off. Okay? Because that's going to be where we need to round it. And then you could just discard this. Alright, so next you could see this line here is kind of flaring out. I want to cut it back to where this curve is going up, and then when I get to the top of the curve I want to angle it back because I still got to make my new curve. So I want to do that on both sides, because if you don't do that, if you don't start cutting this back a little bit, the flipper will get stuck in that corner. It gets too tight. Also, if you don't have a vacuum shop vac with a HEPA filter, please get yourself a mask if you're doing this with a charcoal filter. You don't want to breathe in fiberglass dust. It's not good for your lungs. And we're going to see if this was cut out enough. I can tell it's probably not, but I'm just going to check it anyway. This side looks okay, this side doesn't. See right here? See where that curve starts to go in, that makes it tight for the flipper. So that's why you got to cut out that edge on both sides. See, this one's not cut out enough for this flipper to fit in there. This side's a little bit better, a little bit wider cut, so that side's probably okay. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit more. In there again, check the clearance. It looks like we're good on the right side now, but I still got a little bit of lippage on this side on the left, so I'm going to cut that out just a little bit more. I think we're good right there. Alright, so just cut and cut on those sides until you get this flipper in there where it can slide back and forth just like that, and that this thing can open up without hitting there. So that's that step. That's fitting the flipper in there. Now we got to go and correct this ugly unaround edge here. Okay, that's what I do last. Alright, see that right there? That's what you want it to look like. Same thing on this side. And if anybody's wondering, this is a rotary grinder. Alright, and that's how it's done, guys. I make it look easy. It might be hard for some of you guys. It might be easy for some of you guys. I don't know everybody's talent when it comes to hands and working with your hands. So everybody's going to be a little different. Some people's going to be able to do this task real simple. And for others, it'll be really difficult. Okay. Practice makes perfect. I've been doing this for a while, so it ain't nothing for me. Not to brag, but it's just the way it is. When you do something over and over, you just get really good at it. But that's how you do it, guys. I wanted to make this video, how-to video, just in case you guys order one of these, and because not everybody's going to use the flipper. Some people are just going to use a regular license plate. But later down the road, you might change your mind. And if you bought a fiberglass bumper off me, I've already made it wide enough to fit the flippers that I sell. So if you ever change your mind, you can go and do this work yourself. I know it looks kind of hideously open there, but once you got the flipper in there, you won't even notice it. Okay, the flipper goes inside, just like that. And it's up to you how far down you want it. I usually like it kind of level. Still a little bit tight there, but as long as it's snug and can open up. Okay. So, and it also, when you put your flipper in and you feel like if you test it and it's still hitting, most likely, let me show you this on camera, it's going to hit in this corner, and you need to just open up the corner a little bit more, round it off a little bit more. See, this side's a little bit touching. Oh, sorry, not opening up that right. This side's touching just a little bit earlier than this side, so I got to round this one out just a little bit more on the inside right here. So what I do is I'll mark where it's hitting. I'll open it and mark, okay, it's hitting here. I'll put a pencil mark so I know to widen that out just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And you can see it kind of is not coming out enough on that edge there compared to that one. Alright, let's try that out one more time. Get this flipper in here. Get it where we want it. Make sure it's seated all the way down. Alright, let's check that out. So you want it, I like it flush with the bottom of the bumper, okay? I don't like it hanging down too much. And then I like this cut almost even with the top edge here, so it looks, you know, you don't see a hole. Okay, and this is going to be mounted on the car. It's going to be real low, so you're not going to see that it's been cut out. It's going to look like the original, so don't worry about that. This pretty much covers that opening that we cut. And then when this thing opens, you can see it opens quite a bit. That's about as far as it needs to be open. I should actually measure how much when it flips open. I'll do that in a minute, just so you guys can see, so you know how far to cut. Alright, so I'm going to hook it up real quick. Watch how fast this is, how easy and fast this is to hook up. Literally take your wire in the back here, plug it into this wire loom. One little connector right there. Okay, that goes into your rear of your car, and the controller goes to the front of the car. This has a cigarette port, cigarette lighter port. Goes to your cigarette lighter in your car. Turns on. You hit the switch. See, and as you can see, we're not hitting anywhere. I'll do that again for you. And also you have a keychain as well. Keychain here, you can do it with the keychain. Alright, and that's looking good. We're not touching the corners, the corner edge at all. So just keep an eye on the corner edge. If you cut this a little bit where I told you, which is 1.5 inches, rather than have it down to 2 inches as the stock, it won't hit it at all. It will not hit it at all. 1.5 inch from the top here to the bottom edge. And you can sand this edge down just like this has been sanded on the edge like I did, so it's not sharp. Let's do that one more time. Perfect. Alright guys, that's how you do it. Simple as that. It's well, it's not that simple, but if you have the right tools, it's simple. For me, it's simple. But if you guys want to tackle it, that's how it's done. Hopefully, you know, I'm showing you how to do it correctly. I know not everyone's going to have the air saw like I do. You could use a regular saw. It could take you quite a bit of time to cut it out, though. Not everybody's going to have one of these. This does a really fast job. You could always just sand it with a regular sanding block like this one, but it will take you quite a bit of time. You could use files. They make files for that. They make round files too that can fit in there to go a little faster if you don't have a rotary tool like this. This is a Cobalt Pro Rotary Grinder Kit is what it is, 1/4 inch. This thing is really good, and you got to buy the bits separately. Oh yeah, let me measure how high this goes. So what I'm going to do is put you on a tripod so I can do this. Put you on the tripod here. What we're going to figure out is how high this thing goes before it's all the way open. Let's try that again. It's kind of tricky. Alright, so I'm getting about 5 inches height. So it comes out to about 5 inches. Yeah, I'd say about 5 inches is the height that it needs. So that gives you an idea of where you can do the corner edges. You can put this on here, and once you get it up to about 5 inches, you know you'll have enough room for it to open. and clear this corner edge. That's how you install a Knight Rider license plate flipper from nightridershop.com. Also, if you want to know how to mount the license plate to your flipper, take a small drill bit, smaller than the screw you're using. I just happen to be using these black ones. Okay, thread it in there. Once you got the hole made, tighten up the screw, make sure it threads into the plastic because you're just going through plastic. Line up your flipper. Okay, I'm leaving the plastic on mine because it's for a customer. Don't want it to get ruined. And I just happen to be using little tiny washers on this one because the head of this is not wide enough. And then just screw it down with the screwdriver. You can find a screw that's probably a bigger head that cover up the hole better, but I don't have any on hand, so I'll just do this for the customer. They could always put what they want later on, but I wanna make sure the flipper is installed with the plate, and I include the plate on every purchase of rear bumper with flipper. If you order it with the flipper, I'll include the license plate on the flipper, so it's ready to go when you get it. All you have to do when you get this, take the plastic off, the protective plastic, and you'll see that there's stickers in there inside the plastic on the other side of this. So take this plate off and remove the plastic because there's the month and the year stickers for this if you want to add those. But that's about it. That's all you do to mount these. And then if you're wondering how to mount the flipper, that's just as easy. I usually just use 2 screws down here. So right now we got it where we want it, so I'll just put a hole in the middle right there, and then a hole right here. I'm marking for my hole. Okay, remove the flipper. Okay, and then drill the holes where you marked it. Then I'll take a screw, and later on, if you don't want screws and you want like a nut on a different, you can always change it out. But I'll thread this in through the fiberglass a little bit. Okay, that'll actually thread the glass in there. Do that to both sides. Again, if you want to use bolts with nuts, you can, but this is just how I ship it to you. Do what you want once you have this thing painted and on the car. Mount it however you want. Okay. So we get the flipper. Mount this on the tripod. Alright, so put the flipper back on. To where we wanted it. Okay, it's about right there. I'll use a little washer on that screw. Second one. can see how tight this is getting. I had to really torque that on there. Need some muscle to get that on. Alright, and that's completed, guys. So that's where I'm going to end the video. So that's where we're going to end the video today. That's how you install the license plate flipper and the license plate itself on the flipper.